Welcome everyone, back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. Then we'll go through the medium and long range forecast, have a look at the GFS, the GM, the ECMWF, the GFS Ensembles, and then we'll finally have a look at the UKMO Run, have a look at what we're going to be seeing over the next 5 days. Now, I did release a video earlier having a look at winter 2021-22. It's the second look ahead I have done, so do check that out. We go quite in depth, have a look at the stratosphere, as we do have a minor warming going on right now, which could give some interesting things for early winter, sort of end of November into December. So do check that out if you haven't seen that already. But if we do have a look at the live radar, you can see at the moment we do have a cold front that is slowly sinking southwards. Now behind it we've actually got some quite chilly, if not cold air. And you can see we're even seeing some snow over the tops of the mountains. Now, of course, that's not unusual for the middle of October, but it just does show you that it is a reasonably cold air mass. However, for many areas, it's sort of mid to high single digits, so still chilly, but not particularly cold. This weather front is reasonably active at the moment with a few heavier pulses of rain. However, as it sinks southwards, it will become less active as the air does start to mix, and it should just be a bit of cloud and drizzly rain, perhaps, for many parts of sort of the Midlands and southern England. This colder sort of spell of weather isn't going to last too long, as we do have some low pressure arriving by Saturday evening into Sunday. So if you do have a look at the latest GFS, have a look at the mid-range forecast, you can see at the moment that cold front is slowly sinking southwards. However, you can see it does sort of get cut away, and we do start to bring milder air back in off the Atlantic by sort of Friday evening into Saturday, and that is ahead of a big low pressure system that's going to be arriving, bringing heavy rain, strong winds as well through Sunday and Monday. However, it is bringing up some quite mild, if not warm air. So, while we do see some dry spells at times, maybe some sunshine, temperatures might get up into the high teens, maybe even 20 degrees. There's really quite warm upper air temperatures for the middle to end of October. Now, beyond that low pressure sort of hangs around and slowly clears eastwards. As it does, it brings down another direct northerly for the end of next week, so in about a week's time. And we do see some chilly conditions once again. And then we see a brief transient ridge of high pressure before we go very wet and windy with a lot of rain coming in off the Atlantic. Big low pressure systems over Iceland and Greenland. This is a typical sort of polar vortex of doom style pattern. However, it doesn't look like it's going to last too long. Right towards the end of the run, we do see high pressure starting to ridge northwards, and you can see over the North Pole there is some blocking appearing, and these blue colours are sort of getting sort of fragmented. So it does look like at the moment on the latest GFS beyond day 10 it could be going very windy and stormy. But as we'll see with the GM in a minute, not all models are going for that. So if we do have a look at the GM, and this does go reasonably cold for the end of the run. Now, as you can see, we've got that brief northerly wind moving through at the moment, and then we see those approaching lows with a lot of rain spreading through, but we never get rid of this blocking towards Greenland. As we head towards the end of next week, we see that direct northerly wind, pretty chilly conditions spreading in through Scotland, northern England, but we never see the Atlantic really power up. We see this high pressure remain over towards Greenland and northern Canada, and we remain with a northerly airflow. You can see it's not particularly cold in the south, but in the north we see a consecutive maybe 3, 4, 5 days of the -5 isotherm. That could mean temperatures on the surface will be definitely cold enough for snow potentially overnight, even sort of moderate hills. Over mountains could see quite a bit of snow with a lot of showers around, and even to low-lying areas we could be seeing some frosts, and you can't rule out the odd snowflake to low-lying areas if we do see this sort of air mass around. Further southwards, it's still chilly with a northerly airflow, but the air isn't that cold. As you can see, there isn't that much cold available air to our north, as it is, of course, still the end of October, but the GM is going pretty chilly, and this would coincide with the stratospheric warming we're seeing at the moment. So do check out that video that I posted earlier. We were seeing on that that would give the potential for application of the jet stream. That's exactly what we're seeing by the end of this GM run. So very interesting seeing it prop up now, and we'll have to keep an eye on what happens in the longer term, because it is a complete opposite to the GFS run, which had the polar vortex of doom with real strong westerly winds. If we do have a look at the ECMWF, now the ECMWF only has gone out to 168 hours at the moment as I'm recording this, so we'll have a look at the midnight run as well to get right towards 240 hours. But you can see very similar over the next few days, and as we head to 168 hours, we see again another direct northerly. As you can see, there isn't that much cold air available to our north, but it is still pulling in chilly air. The -5 line would get through many parts of Scotland, even into northern England. Cold rain would take over, and we could even be seeing snow once again over moderate hills and the mountains as well. Frost to lower levels as well. So very interesting seeing that. Very similar to the GM, and with the big block towards up towards Greenland and northern Canada, I wouldn't suspect this would break down particularly quickly, so we'd maintain this sort of northerly winds. Very interesting to see that. If you do go back to the midnight run, you can see similar in terms of blocking, but not quite that northerly airflow. And you can see right towards the end of the run, we do start to bring southwesterly winds, but it is reasonably blocked. I would expect it to go colder once again on this run. As you can see, quite cold air is just to our north. So if we finally, for the long-range forecast, have a look at the GFS Ensembles, you can see at the moment quite up and down. We've got moderately warm air right now, but as that cold front sinks southwards overnight tonight into tomorrow, colder air does come through, a good 4 or 5 degrees below average. Then we see a big, steep rise up to around 10, 12 degrees at 850 HPA, as we do bring in low pressure in off the Atlantic. Very unsettled, a lot of rain and wind, as we'll see with the UKMO run as well in a minute. Beyond that, temperatures do drop, and as we see that northerly wind come in about a week's time, we do see quite a few going well below freezing at 850 HPA. Potentially you can get down to -5, all depends on how direct that northerly does get. And beyond that, temperatures do respond and sort of sit around average, but there is a lot of uncertainty. I'd assume you can see that the GFS Operational Run is one of the warmer ensemble members, and if we had the GM Operational Run on here, it'd be one of these colder ensemble members. So at this stage, it is quite uncertain. Does still, though, show a lot of low pressure around. So whether it is that polar vortex of doom westerly wind, or is that big blocking towards Greenland, or somewhere in between those two patterns, it does look like it will continually be unsettled with no sort of definitive dry conditions. If we have a look at the sea level pressure, you can see this well reflected at the moment. Reasonably high pressure at the moment, but we see low pressure moving in by next week. As we do see that low swing through and we pull in that northerly wind. Beyond that, a lot of uncertainty with a lot of up and down. We really can't make too much out of that at this stage. If we have a look at Glasgow to see further northwards, you can see high pressure at the moment, but it is dropping as we see low pressure moving in by this weekend into next week. Beyond that, it does respond back up to around 1,010 millibars, but then there comes a lot of uncertainty. So it does look like there's going to be a ridge of high pressure after that low pressure sweeps through, but beyond that is very, very uncertain. If we have a look at the 850 HPA temperature and precipitation, similar to London with colder air coming in at the moment, then a big pickup in temperatures, a lot of precipitation, and then the cold front does sweep through, getting quite chilly again down to below freezing, if not getting down to -5. A lot of precipitation continues. Beyond that, temperatures return to around average. But again, a lot of uncertainty similar to London. Pressure patterns really haven't quite resolved beyond around 7 to 10 days' time, and we'll have to keep an eye on what happens with that. Of course, got to take into account what is happening in the stratosphere. Got to take into account the amplification we're seeing with the jet stream. So at this stage, it's very difficult to call what we're going to be seeing. So if we do finally finish up having a look at the UK Meteorology Run, have a look at precipitation, and we'll have a look at temperature as well. You can see the cold front sinking southwards at the moment, fizzling away though as it reaches parts of England. Still some heavier pulses in there, of course, but generally just a cloud and a bit of drizzly rain. Beyond that, a few showers into Scotland, but nothing too major. Then by Saturday afternoon, heavy rain comes in off the Atlantic as we see weather fronts push in. For many areas, seeing that heavy rain. However, further east, we may escape it as it does run into high pressure. But as we head through Monday, we see another weather front move through. Heavy rain for pretty much all, especially in the west. And then does sweep through, and we can see some heavy rain through Tuesday once again in the south into Wales and Midlands. So it doesn't look like, even though it does look like maybe the south and the east may escape the rain this weekend, by sort of Monday, Tuesday time, it does look like even the south will be seeing some very heavy rain. If we finally finish up having a look at the UK Met's office run, have a look at the 2 metre temperatures on the UK Met's office run. As we get to Friday afternoon, tomorrow, you can see temperatures are pretty chilly throughout. 13, 14 degrees in the south, maybe 17 degrees in the far southwest as we hang on to some warmer air. But further north through northern England and the whole of Scotland, struggling to get into double digits, mainly 7, 8, 9 degrees. Beyond that, we could see an overnight frost through Friday into Saturday, especially across northern England and Scotland, maybe in Northern Ireland as well, maybe even into East Anglia and the Midlands, a few spots where it does get down to potentially 0 degrees. Then Saturday afternoon, we see temperatures starting to respond a little bit better in the south. We do start to bring in those southwesterly winds, 16, 17 degrees, and then sort of gradually decreases to only around 6, 7 degrees up in Scotland. By Sunday afternoon, we do see temperatures firmly 16, 17 degrees across many parts of Wales, England, and Ireland, Northern Ireland as well, as we do have those southwesterly winds moving in, but still a little bit chilly over Scotland. And then by Monday, all areas are starting to see warmer conditions, so those southwesterly winds take hold. 16, 17, 18 degrees possible in the London area. And then by Tuesday overnight, 16, 17 degrees, really quite mild, as we do have a lot of warmer upper air temperatures. And by Tuesday afternoon, could be quite a warm day, 18, 19 degrees, but of course, it does look like there's going to be rain spiralling in the south. But it could be a pleasant day where you do escape that rain and do see some sunshine. So do keep an eye on the forecast, but Tuesday could be a pretty decent day, even though we're in between weather systems. We could get a good few hours in the afternoon of a little bit of warmth. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.